All right, today we're going to do something a little different. We're going to take a look under the hood of a modern energy company to see what really makes it tick. We're deconstructing a company called SolarXnest to get a better handle on how companies just like it are completely changing India's energy landscape. So let's jump right in. So let me ask you a question. When you picture an energy company, what comes to mind? For a lot of us, it's probably these giant old-school power plants. But that model is fading and fast. To get a real answer, you got to look at what's actually happening on the ground. And the best way to do that is with a real-world example. Okay, so before we dive into the company itself, we've got to set the stage, right? Context is everything. And to really get what's going on, we have to start with the big picture: India's massive energy transition. This is way more than just some line in a policy paper. It's a full-blown national mission. And when a country the size of India decides to go big on sustainable, secure energy, well, that creates this incredible opportunity. It's the fertile ground where companies like SolarXnest can actually grow and succeed. All right, so with that massive national push as our backdrop, let's zoom in from that 30,000-foot view and focus on one of the players right in the middle of all the action. And that brings us to SolarXnest. Now, their whole thing is a focus on high-performance solar solutions. And, in an industry that's getting more crowded by the day, that's a pretty big claim. It tells you they're not just trying to be the cheapest, they're aiming for top-notch quality, efficiency, and real long-term value. So who are they actually selling to? Well, pretty much everyone. We're talking individual homeowners, local businesses, even huge industrial factories. And that's smart, right? It's not just about getting more customers. Having such a diverse client base makes them way more stable. If one part of the economy slows down, they've got the others to lean on. Okay, so we've got the big picture, and we know who their customers are. Now let's get down to the nitty-gritty. What do they actually do? What are the core services they're offering? You're going to see this acronym EPC pop up a lot in the solar world. It stands for engineering, procurement, and construction. But what does that really mean? Well, it means they handle the entire project from start to finish. They're not just a shop that sells you solar panels. They design the system, they get all the parts, and they build it. It's the whole shebang. And under that EPC umbrella, they do a lot. It can be as simple as putting panels on your roof, or as massive as building these huge solar farms on the ground. They also do these cool hybrid systems for places that are off the grid. And then there's this really important piece of tech called BESS. So, BESS. It's a battery energy storage system. The easiest way to think about it is like a giant, super smart power bank for a building or a whole facility. It really solves that age-old problem with solar, What happens when the sun goes down? Well, with BESS, you just store up all that sunshine and use it whenever you need it. It's a total game changer. So when you look at what they're really good at, you start to see something interesting. The real product isn't just panels and wires, it's the know-how. It's the high-level engineering and project management. It's the promise to stick around and maintain the system for the long haul. They even help clients figure out all the complicated paperwork for government subsidies. It's a service, not just a sale. All right, so we get the picture. We know the market, we know what they sell, but here's the million-dollar question. In a super competitive space, why would someone pick SolarXnest over anybody else? What's their secret sauce? And here's their answer. They hit all the right notes, right? Solid engineering, top quality parts, strict quality control, all good stuff. But honestly, the thing that really jumps out at me is this line right here: systems optimized for Indian climates. Now that is huge. It means they're not just selling a generic product. They're designing for the intense heat, the monsoon season, the sometimes unreliable power grid. That's a level of local expertise that a one-size-fits-all global company might totally miss. Okay, let's pull all these threads together now. What's the end game here? What's the big vision that's driving all of this forward? Right here in their mission statement, we get a pretty clear idea. Look at those words: clean, dependable, and future-ready. This tells you they're not just trying to install solar panels. They're trying to sell a promise, the promise of energy that's not just good for the planet, but that you can actually count on, day in and day out for years to come. So how do they make that big, lofty mission real for their customers? Well, they boil it down to this simple 3-step journey. Step 1, you save money on your electricity bills. Pretty straightforward. Step 2, you're doing your part for the environment, being more sustainable. And the final destination, what they call true energy independence. And when you think about it, that path from saving money to achieving real independence, that's basically the core promise of a 21st century energy company. It's all about putting the power, literally, back in the hands of the customer. And that really just leaves us with one final thought to chew on. For you, for your own home, for your business, what does true energy independence actually look like to you?